When choosing a set of speakers for your car, the first thing you're going to want to check is the size of the speakers. Depending on the opening of the old speaker that you're removing, you're going to want to get a speaker that's exactly the same size. If you have a factory car stereo with low wattage, you're not going to want to get a big high-end speaker because it's going to take a lot of power to push that speaker, typically an external amplifier. If you're using the amplifier that came with your car, you're going to want a high-efficiency speaker. And typically, these are cheaper than low-efficiency speakers. Low-efficiency speakers are high-end, they take a lot of power to push, they sound great, but you need a big amplifier for them. Another thing you're going to want to check on your speakers is the RMS power rating. This is how much power the speakers can handle day in, day out. If you have a 30-watt RMS speaker, it means you can pump 30 watts into this speaker all day and it's going to be fine. You don't want to overpower it, and you don't want to underpower it. Depending on where you're mounting the speakers, you may want a coaxial speaker or a component speaker. A coax speaker, as we call it, has a woofer and it has a tweeter built into the same speaker. Typically, the woofer makes up the main part of the speaker, and the tweeter will poke through the middle. These are great because they play all the frequencies that your stereo can output very efficiently, all in one small package. Ideally, you're going to want to install component speakers, specifically in the front of your car. Component speakers have separate drivers, a woofer in the door and a tweeter up on your dashboard. What this is going to do is it's going to bring the sound stage up. With component speakers, it's going to sound like all the sound is coming from up high because the treble, which is the really directional part, is going to be mounted on your dashboard, going right to your ears. Component speakers typically come with a better crossover than a coaxial speaker. Usually the crossover on a component speaker is about this big. It's very high quality and has a lot of circuitry to make sure that the sound is separated properly between the tweeter and the woofer. In a coaxial speaker, usually the crossover is nothing more than a small capacitor about this big that's mounted to the speaker. They sound pretty good, but nowhere near as good as component speakers. Component speakers are going to give you much better imaging and much better sound.